Hey, what is going on, freedom fighters, Rocky Mountain Warriors? Let's go, let's get it. Welcome back to Break the Chains Media. I'm your host, Corey. We're going to get into all of the fun stuff. I know I've been away for a while. I've been taking some well-needed time off because life is crazy. Politics makes it even crazier. And I just said, I've got to focus on the signal rather than the noise. That's the most important thing we need to stay focused on here in this 2026 year, in this crazy world we live in, whether it's local politics, state politics, national politics, geopolitics, you name it. It's always good and it's always healthy to kind of just, take a beat and then recenter yourself, do a little self-reflection, do a little come to Jesus, as it were, and say, you know what? This is what we need to focus on. This is the fight. This is the direction. And here we are. We're back in it. We are crushing it. We are making it happen. Hello, everyone in the chat. Say hello on the live stream because I appreciate everyone here on Rumble, everyone here on YouTube, everyone here on X. And this live stream is going to be a wild one. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting because this past weekend I was down in Pueblo dealing with the GOP State Assembly here in Colorado. And let me tell you, it was an experience. It was, I was hoping a little bit more Siegfried and Roy, but I ended up getting a little bit more Chris Angel. I ended up getting a little bit more, whose line is it anyway? It was a little bit of comedy, a little bit of tragedy, a little bit of chaos. But here we are. We're going to do a big review. We're going to talk about the wins, the losses, the dysfunction, the reality, and how we have to look forward into the November 2026 midterms, into the Colorado state elections in June, the primaries happening in June, because that is going to be a big bellwether as well. So we're going to be breaking all of this down. We've got the Scott Bottoms. Scott Bottoms made it to the ballot. We got Victor Marks. He made it to the primary ballot. So we got two contenders for the primary ballot through state assembly. And then you got Barb Kirkmeyer going to be petitioning on for governor in Colorado. And then we've got our lower offices like Secretary of State. James Wiley crushed it, absolutely destroyed competition, took 70% of the votes. We're going to get into that. We got Mark Baisley, head of the U.S. Senate. Hopefully, we got to get him over the line. We got to get him there. But he is the U.S. Senate candidate to get us some honest representation in D.C. And we also have the Attorney General position we got to talk about. And that one I think is going to be a little bit more nuanced, a little bit more contested, because honestly, folks, if you've been living under a rock, you don't know. Jenna Griswold, our favorite state politician, is running for Attorney General office. And I do think that the Attorney General office is going to be one of the most pivotal and important races, second to the state House and the state Senate races, because I do think that it comes down to the legislation and how our Attorney General enforces the laws that the legislation institutes. So we're going to get into all of that. We've got some great things to talk about. So thank you everyone for being here. If you want to support the channel, if you want to support what I do, you just got to follow me. You just got to share this stream, share this live stream. I'll be posting shorter segments from this in the days coming, but share this with your friends and family. Break the Chains M on X. Break the Chains Media on Instagram, Break the Chains Media on Facebook, YouTube, you name it, find it. Here you are. And then if you want to, go over to breakthechains.media. That is the landing page. That is the place you need to go. I'll be updating some of my articles, but you want to support the work, pick up a bottle of Realm Walker hot sauce. Handmade, homegrown hot sauce for your friends and family. The greatest, the best hot sauce. I can assure you, that's what they say anyways. So Realm Walker Hot Sauce, travel the 9 realms of Norse mythology. Reach out to Realm Walker Hot Sauce on Instagram or find me at Break the Chains Media. Any of the socials will get you a bottle, will get you going. Support the channel, support the work we do here in the Mile High City. But without further ado, we're getting into it. Hey, what is going on, Big Timber Lodge Wolverines? Let's go. Let's go. Yes, I love it. I love hearing you. I love seeing you. Appreciate you being here on Rumble, especially. Gotta love my Rumblers. Gotta love my Rumbles. And then YouTube, you know, you're always going to be there, YouTube, but we know how YouTube works. We know how the disenfranchisement it is here. So thank you all for being here. No, I have not been captured, Stankvale. I am here. We're kicking it. We're taking a moment. We're taking a beat. And now we're coming back. The tanks are full. The engine lights are off. Green lights are go. And we're taking it straight to the midterms because that's what we need to do here in Colorado. We're going to get some wins here with Break the Chains Media, with the Big Timber Lodge, with Free State Colorado, with Logic and Liberty. We got a lot of people fighting the good fight here. With Denver Fail, shout out to all my friends and family out there because that is what we need. We need to build a community of people to resound and clear messaging, right? We got to build this message. We got to cut through the noise and promote signal. We got to be advocates and followers of truth, freedom, liberty, honesty, Constitution, and Second Amendment rights, because that is what we do here. But yes, folks, holy cow, what a weekend it was. I attended, obviously, I'm not going to be showing you all of my updates here, but I was a very present in the Colorado State Assembly. On Friday, it was the Congressional Assembly. And what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about the congressional candidate for CD7 because I am in CD7, but you have CD3, CD4, and CD7, which I think are going to be the big contesting races because you got Lauren Boebert is in CD3, I believe it was. And then Jeff Hurd is in CD4, or maybe I'm getting those mixed up because Lauren moved, whatever. Case in point, we got to make sure that these races are won because these are the people who represent us in the U.S. Congress, okay? So we got to make sure we get some butts in the seats in D.C. to represent Colorado, to flip those numbers, right? So CD7, great candidate. I'm going to pull it up right here, right now. Where is it? Do I have it here? Yeah, there it is. Tim Bennett for Congress. He uncontestedly took the CD7 candidate race for Colorado. He's running against Baby Prop Barbie, Brittany Pedersen, and I personally know Tim Bennett myself. I think he's an excellent guy. I think he stands for a lot of good principles. Really well-rounded. He's a former Army Ranger, 20 years in service. But let's take a listen from his speech from the CD7 assembly. I got to find it here. Where is it? Because I had several different videos. Hopefully you guys can hear that. Hopefully that sounds good for you. I got to pause this really quick. So as a filmmaker, I told him after he did a great job, but I know he wants to be personable with the crowd. He wants to be involved with the crowd, but you got to stand up on stage, my man. Stand up on stage behind the podium. Be a standing pole because as a filmmaker, it's a little bit difficult to move back and forth in a crowd of heads. But
no, you need it. Yeah, you need it.
Yeah, keep the mic.
I'm running for CD7. I was an Army veteran for 32 years.
32 years.
About that for a very brief second. I was in a Ranger regiment for a little while. Not very long, just a little while. We used to play a game with all the new guys who would come in, or if there was a guest who came in, if they would say, hey, just ask for a volunteer. Yeah. You know what happens when you're in a Ranger regiment? You stand in front of a company of Rangers and you say, hey, I need a volunteer. What happened?
I don't know. What happened?
What happened? Oh, you get trampled, right?
Everybody volunteers.
Immediately you get trampled. That's one.
So we're not going to watch this whole thing, but I kind of wanted to just round off with this last little bit when he was talking and just kind of present his platform from his standpoint. I got to fix my hair. I just came out of the shower. Sorry, guys. This is all real time. We're happening in real time. This is Break the Chains Media. This is what we do. But all right, let's listen to this last little minute because I think this is really kind of nails it home.
Well, I'm willing to do anything to get Brittany Pedersen out of office.
No!
Hold on. I gotta record that. Sorry. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do.
Person in the room that just seconded that.
Sorry, technical difficulties. I gotta press this button, and then I gotta go over here, and then I gotta go in here, and then I gotta go back over here. So.
You gotta keep me motivated too, right? You ever been around somebody who gets a little dejected? The one way to pick them up is to just sound off a little bit. It's kind of nice knowing that the people in your rooms, they get these little claps, but I think we're good.
Oh, this is a good spot. This is a good spot.
One more time. What are we gonna do to flip CD7?
Hi!
That's the I can appreciate that. My old Army instincts are coming back. You gotta keep me motivated too, right? You ever been around somebody who gets a little dejected? The one way to pick them up is to just sound off a little bit. It's kind of nice knowing that the people in your foxhole are willing to fight for you. Well, I'm willing to do anything to get Brittany Pedersen out of office.
No!
Hopefully I don't have to go into any of the little nitnoid details about what that woman has done in CD7 because you all know, correct? All right. Well, I don't know what else to tell you other than my table's out here. What he said is the absolute 100% God's truth. I cannot do this by myself.
Absolutely. We got to help him.
As a civilian, and he best ranked the competition twice. I don't know what it means to quit, but if we're going to win, and I'm telling you, I've looked at the numbers, I know for a fact that we can unseat this woman and send her into retirement, but I need your help.
Yep, 100%.
Everybody got that? Yeah. Man?
All right, so absolutely. I fully am in working with Tim Bennett, backing him, and I want to see him take Brittany Pedersen's seat and get her out because you know what? It's gonna be the best of both worlds, folks. Because when it comes down to it, if Brittany Pedersen's having a hard time raising her kids because she's carrying around her baby and she's moaning and groaning because she can't have a babysitter and her husband Ian Silveri's making too much money running NGOs here in Colorado and she gets foreign funding from overseas interests. If she can't handle her position in U.S. Congress, maybe we need to just take her out of her seat and put Tim Bennett in there. You know what I'm saying, folks? So shout out to Tim Bennett. That was the congressional race on Friday, the Congressional Assembly on Friday that Tim Bennett anointed to CD7 candidate. So check him out. His website is timbennettforcongress.com. So go ahead and check him out. I think he's got some great stuff here. You can hear all about him. He's got his platform policies over here. A lot of great stuff. So definitely go check that out. And we got a lot of work to do. I think we can flip CD7. But we also have, like I said, CD4 and CD3 are also contentious as well. But moving right along, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep chugging lugging, because that's what we got to do here. And you've seen this plenty of times, folks. Christy for Colorado, thank you for being here. Shout out. You get a golden treasure chest. Thank you for being here. Big Timber Lodge as well. Rock and roll. We got you. We got you in the chat, in the channel. Let's make it happen, folks. But yeah, so Colorado's 3 branches of government are captured by godless cultural Marxists. They will stop at nothing to retain and control and execute their destruction from America from within. We've got to get involved, arrest them, and take back our country. That is what we need to do here, folks. So now we're gonna dive in, folks. We're gonna dive into it because let me just take a beat here. We're gonna take a beat because I don't want to keep rehashing and repeating myself, but in summary, right, folks? In summary, this past Colorado GOP State Assembly, in its entirety, in a few simple words, it was a dysfunctional mess. It was infighting. It was disjointed. It was various levels of chaos, various levels of frustration. We did get some work done, folks. We did get some good things accomplished. We got some names on the ballot. We got some good candidates running into the primaries. We ended up seeing who actually the state assembly, the delegates, want to see as their governor. We got a lot of good numbers coming in from Scott Bottoms. We got also good numbers coming in from Victor Marks. We can see through the delegate process that we've got a primary race ahead of us, folks. So with that being said, we also cannot ignore the level of the level of logistical errors and credentialing chaos and entry fiasco that unfolded as the day went on. Folks, from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. was supposed to be for credentialing. We had over 2,000 delegates at the Colorado GOP State Assembly. We all lined up. We all showed up on time. And from 7 to 9, the line was wrapped around the building. Over 2,000 people trying to get in. And as the day progressed, we were all very patient relatively. And I've got some videos on my X account showing you the updates. But I did not end up getting in there until 12:30 due to Wi-Fi and machine computer errors not allowing delegates to get credentialed appropriately in a timely fashion. So there was initial chaos from Jump Street. And we're going to get into all of that here with these few quick posts. And then once we got in to the assembly, we ended up not getting credentialed until the elevation of alternates didn't end up happening until about 2:30, and then we ended up not voting officially until I think we didn't vote officially for governor until about, I think it was like closer to 3:30, 4 o'clock. And then, we went through about 15 different governor. They did their elevator pitch. We cut the time down from from 10 minutes to 3 minutes because of the initial entry fiasco. But with that being said, folks, let's jump into some of these updates that I had here. So let's take a listen. And we're not going to have to watch the whole thing, but start of the day, it was this was at I want to say closer to 10:30.
Is still waiting to be credentialed at the Colorado GOP State Assembly. Delegates, all of these delegates here standing outside, 10 a.m.
This is 10 a.m.
Credentialing was supposed to start from 7 to 9.
Yeah, so you can check out that update. And then this is 11:45. 11:45, picture in line. We are close. We can see the entrance of the building right over there. But we're still waiting in line. And folks, not long after this photo was taken, there was an elderly woman who passed out from a heat stroke, folks. Catching from Rocky Mountain Gun Owners posted on his feed. Let's actually pull it up because he did a good report. Let me find that because it was just a quick post, but it just goes to show you how dysfunctional it was, and how it was to a degree slightly dangerous for some of these older folks because they're standing out in the heat. They're standing out in the heat. They're waiting to enter this building. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Yeah. Multiple ambulances were called. So yeah, right here from Catching. This is from Catching. Multiple ambulances were called before the days were over. This event has burned hundreds of first-time delegates on the caucus assembly process by design, in his words, through the weaponized incompetence of those wanting to replace the voice of Republican electors with corporate candidates. And I cannot agree more with that, Catching. And I think this is what it comes down to is I do believe I was a first-time delegate. I was a first-time delegate, and a lot of other people out there were as well. How are we supposed to get people actively involved in this process, in the delegate process, if this is the kind of example that we have to deal with? If this is the kind of energy that we have to suffer through, for the dysfunctional behavior and the logistical nightmare that took place in the Colorado State Assembly, who's going to deal with that? Not very many people, not me. I did, and I will, because I understand what's at stake. I understand what we're fighting against, right? But this is it. This is it, folks. An elderly woman just passed out in the heat at Britta Horn's disastrous Colorado GOP State Assembly. Lines have wrapped around the gun-free CSU Pueblo campus for over 5 hours. Multiple points of entry is not screened for weapons, and security is nearly non-existent. Catching, bringing it to the people reporting. A lot of people were out there reporting, myself included. But hundreds of others were posting it as well. But this is just another example, right? And then we had the credentialing error. We're going to get into the credentialing error, folks. This is the big fiasco, right? Just got in at 12:30. This is another review. 2 p.m. Colorado State Assembly. We're finally underway. Yeah, you can check out all those posts there. But listen here, folks. Big news. Big news, big news. Big name at the Colorado State Assembly. I had it, you have to. When you see someone with face recognition, with brand recognition, such as Scott Pressler, love him or hate him. I know people have different opinions on him. People have different, points of contention with his process and what he's done to get people registered, to get people involved. But I think he does promote a net positive, right? I think getting young people involved, getting young people active in these things are important. But like I said initially, and like I said before, how do we get young people involved in a dysfunctional process? Why are we trying to sell people on this buffoonery, on this disastrous event that was on display due to Britta Horn and the Colorado GOP and the state assembly, right? But I appreciate Scott Pressler being there. I appreciate Scott Pressler showing up and being present. Melindy, welcome. Treasure chest for you. Howdy, howdy indeed. Christy for Colorado showing up saying, CD1 GOP candidate here. Christy for Colorado. Shout out, dude. Let's go. I didn't know you were a candidate for CD1, but let's get you in. Let's make it happen. I'll do a little bit. I'll look in. We'll get connected, because this is what we have to do on Break the Chains Media. We have to promote and represent and rally behind similar messaging. We have to be the signal that cuts through the noise of this media propaganda war here in Colorado. So shout out Christopher, Colorado. But I just wanted to pull up this little picture from Scott Pressler. I also, got to represent my boy Teddy Collins, running for Senate District 4, State Senate District 4. Teddy Collins bringing it to the people. Endorsed by Mark Baisley. We'll get into Mark Baisley as well, but shout out Teddy Collins and Spartan Defense, because rock and roll, let's make it happen, because we gotta hold on to Mark Baisley's seat, and I think we can do that with Teddy Collins. He brings a real firebrand energy, real truth, honesty, and Second Amendment rights, First Amendment rights, parental rights, you name it, Teddy Collins is it. Senate District 4 for Colorado. Shout out Teddy Collins, Spartan Defense. But what else do we have here? I do have a couple other ones I wanted to show you before we get in. I want to make sure we're staying positive, because at the end of the day, we do have to rally around like-minded ideas, like-minded messaging, bring this information to the disaffected voters, to the disaffected Republicans, to the independents. We have to make sure that they know that we all agree that the state GOP does not want to work to fight the Democrats. If they can't unify, and if they can't run a state assembly effectively, some of us do think it is intentional and is by design. CD1, that is Denver, Colorado. That is we need you in that seat, Christy, for Colorado. Let's make it happen, What do we say to Democrats in Colorado? This is something that we have to stand together on, folks. Okay? Gandalf said it best. Gandalf, what do you got to say to the Democrats holding control and holding power in Colorado come midterms?
You shall not pass!
Fully agree. I cannot argue with that. Cannot argue with that point, Gandalf. You bring very wise words to the people of the Mile High state of Colorado. But we do not let these Democrats pass. We do not let them collect $200. We do not let them pass go. We are sick and tired of the communist control here in Colorado, and we're not taking it anymore. And if the GOP here in Colorado, if the GOP State Assembly shows their weakness, shows their ineptitude, shows their pathetic behavior and the way that they can't even run a state assembly, they can't even credential things right, if they want to sabotage themselves, we have to do the work ourselves, right? Yep. I see you there. A Supreme Love 5149 says it's hard to vote for Hurd though. I feel you, and I understand the struggle, and I understand that pain, because Hurd is a rhino. Hurd is the turd. I do not believe that he represents real constitutional conservative values. He is an establishment individual, and it pains me to hear that Donald Trump stood behind him and the whole Hope Shuffle, how Hope's a part of his team now. That sounds like a great thing, but we really needed a patriot in that position. And if Hurd is going to vote, against what was the biggest thing? The trans surgery thing that he voted against, and something to do with parental rights, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the chat. But Hurd is a very difficult individual. But this is the problem with the two-party system, folks, is if we don't rally behind someone in Colorado that's not a communist, you're going to get a communist. You know what I mean? So, plug your nose. And you know what? Maybe what we do as constituents of him, if you are in Jeff Hurd's district, maybe we need to petition him to really resonate with the voice of the people and call him out on his big donors and maybe his institutions that are supporting him behind closed doors, right? This is how we hold our politicians accountable, by staying vocal, by getting loud about it, by making it happen, right? Folks, I appreciate everyone here. This is the halfway mark, so smash that thumbs up button. Be a part of the chain breakers here on Break the Chains Media. Share this live stream. Share this video, because this is important. This is the kind of stuff that we need to focus on. We need to make sure that real Colorado issues get to the people, get to the voices, get elevated to that level that we can actually talk about around the dinner table, in the grocery stores, at the farmers markets, down around the pond. If you're going fishing, if you see some people out there, let's have these conversations, because I think I speak for a lot of Republicans. I think I speak for a lot. I do think there's a lot of individuals here in the state of Colorado who might not be establishment, who might not be fully on board with the GOP, but I do believe that a lot of people agree that we are fed up with the ineptitude and the broken process that the GOP has been presenting for the better part of a decade now. We are all tired of it. We all want to get involved. We all want to see change, and I don't think that pointing fingers at one individual is that, right? We can't all blame Britta Horn, the GOP chair. We can't all blame Dave Williams, the former chair. We can't all blame Christy Burton Brown, the one who preceded Tim, or the one who preceded Dave, right? There are so many people that have put blocks, that have put bricks in this wall, who have built up this GOP machine here. It's hard because it's not even a machine. It's completely inept. It's broken. It's falling apart. It's on its face, right? Stankfail's echoing something very similar to what I'm addressing here. There is a lot of classic liberals that are tired of the progressive politics in Colorado too. 100%. 52% of Colorado is registered unaffiliated, right? There is a lot of individuals here who are disenfranchised with both parties. And then you get the people that say, well, it's a two-party system. How do you beat the system if it's only built on two parties? You got to play ball. That's what I think too. I for a long time I've felt that you have to play ball within the system to change the system. You've heard it here first. I've said it here a lot of times. We have to participate to make that change. Well, there's institutionalized roadblocks. There's institutionalized corruption and coercion within both parties. The GOP in Colorado play reluctant second fiddle to the Marxist Democrats here in Colorado. And that is by design. That is built that way, right? Supreme Love says, I've had to hold my nose and vote for rhino after rhino. I feel that. Also says, what I didn't like to see is the clashing between Bottoms and Marks, both of their campaigns. And yes, Hurd voted for that. Yes, one of his supporters, Don Crum, has been one of the worst rhinos District 3 has had. This is, I've heard this many times over. Standing in line, there was a lot of individuals. You see this division. You get the Victor Marks campaign. You get the Scott Bottoms campaign. We want to see unity. We want to see this come together. And I know I keep rambling, but folks, how are we supposed to build unity? How are we supposed to defend a state GOP party when they can't credential right, when they have this political blackmail as a weapon to use against individuals? You know, that is the most valuable weapon in politics, is blackmail and dirty laundry and uncovering some greater corruption that happened years ago with a candidate, right? And it is important to call out these bad actors, this bad behavior, this old guard, infiltration, whether it be through Democrat operatives or subversive tactics, you name it. But I don't want to see that. I don't want to be a part of it. But so to call that out is important. But if we want to have unity and if we want to build a platform that young people can get involved in, we need to have something better than this, folks. We need to have a party that's better than this. Okay? And I'll play this video here because this video here,
a credentialing issue. So listen up. The credentials report that we adopted earlier was based on the scanning technology as you walked through the door.
So really quick. This video here, I need to premise it. This video here is the parliamentarian discussing the credentialing error post-voting for both governor and the Secretary of State, Attorney General, Treasurer, and what was the other one? And sorry, I didn't mean to swear. My apologies. Yes, after all the delegates voted for all the races, we get an announcement that there was a credentialing error. Okay, we get an announcement that there was a credentialing error. And this video is the parliamentarian discussing that in real time. I pulled out my phone just in time to catch it. So this is the auditorium reacting to the credentialing committee not being able to effectively run and count and manage the state GOP assembly. So let's take a listen.
Okay. A credentialing issue. So listen up. The credentials report that we adopted earlier was based on the scanning technology as you walked through the door. It's readily apparent that not everyone scanned their badges as they came in. We had an overload situation. I'm not exactly sure, but I've heard numbers around 80 votes. Okay, I understand. It's not good. I completely understand.
It's not good. It's not good. It's not good.
I will have the credentials chair explain this further, and I want you to continue before we take any testimony or debate or anything. I just want you to understand, in my professional parliamentary opinion, we only have two options, maybe perhaps three. We could accept a revised credentials report, which we believe to be accurate based on nobody turned in a ballot without having the credential correct. Right? We believe that number is correct. We don't believe there's been any fraud at all. Possibly, and if it is, it's minuscule. Or we can adjourn to another day. I'm not advocating for any of these. I'm trying to explain what your options are. Or the third option would be to wait and see the results that come in, and Roberts allows of that election to be valid if it's not enough to make a difference. I doubt that's going to happen on all 5 races. Like, I doubt all 5 races are going to be beyond an option. So I'm going to have the credentials chair explain the nitty-gritty.
So with that being said, folks, this was our options at the time, and we actually eventually got to a point where we adopted the revised credential report. So as delegates, they updated the credentials report, they revised the credentials report, and then after we adopted the new credentials report, we were able to proceed with the results of the various races. So with that being said, we were sitting here in limbo at the time with discrepancies of somewhat of 80 votes because of what happened. The fact is that every delegate got a paper ballot and a lanyard, and when you entered the assembly, you had to queue up, you had to scan. There were people at some doors, not all doors, and that's what he was saying, that some people got scanned, other people didn't. However, that didn't take into account. That is why that there was extra paper ballots, because some people did not get scanned, but they had turned in a ballot. So, with that being said, after all of that, the amount of discrepancy from the races was beyond the reasonable doubt of failure of 80 votes. So everything that got every race that was announced secured victories, and we ended up all going home at the end of the day accepting the results of the races, because those races that were won, or the people that did not win, 80 votes would not have changed the results. So whatever the case may be, that variance did not determine a different outcome, right? Melindy's saying over here on the chat, mediocrity and incompetence rules the day in many legislation, or in many ledges. I'm assuming legislation. Texas House Convention gets wrecked in similar fashion on purpose. And this is I think this is the energy that we all have to understand. This is the energy that we all have to get into and relate it back to. Is that I genuinely believe, and a lot of other people do believe as well, that ineptitude and incompetence and the bumbling idiot behavior of the GOP in Colorado is to a degree on purpose. It is sabotage on purpose. I posted it on my Instagram, and you saw it here as well. The fact that this is all designed to be destructive in nature so that the GOP does not succeed and does not come out on top in a race, in various races that are very winnable. It's an open field for Republicans and Democrats in 26 here in Colorado. A lot of shifting, a lot of movement, a lot of change can be had in this 2026 midterm in Colorado. If we play our cards right, and if we unify, and if we work together to get people across the finish line and get butts in seats, we can do this. Colorado State GOP, approved or not, we as the people, we can get behind candidates. We can get behind messaging. We can pull this together. We don't need the Colorado GOP and their wasteful and pathetic behavior to dictate how our races are won. We have to be the ones to take the reins back and stand up and say, enough of your games, enough of your BS, we're gonna win. That's how we have to do it. Butts in seats. Make sure we get good candidates who are going to stand up against this corruption, against this uniparty behavior, against this weak and spineless attitude that the Colorado GOP has had for so long, that the cultural Marxists in our state has stood on for so long and laughed at us every single election, and how useless and how weak the Colorado GOP is. I don't need them, and neither do you. The only thing is it's kind of funny because, you know, to a degree, we can say we're kind of Republican in name only, because you have to run as a Republican to get recognized on a statewide ballot, right? I was a registered unaffiliated for my entire voting career, and I just recently switched to Republican so that in my hopes that I could reform the party from within, right? This is my hope, and this is what I still stand for. I still believe that we can let this party burn itself out, and from its ashes, we can reignite the party. We can reignite Colorado conservatism under the name of Republican, using the brand of the R, but return with fire, with passion, with a platform, with a message of constitutional conservatism, defending our freedoms, defending our Second Amendment, defending our families, standing up against cultural Marxism and evil, reuniting under that banner, under that umbrella, to reignite the Colorado Republican Party and get rid of all these weak and useless people who are continuously fighting, wasting our money, wasting our time, and doing absolutely nothing against the communist creep in Colorado. That is what I want to see. That is what I want to do, and we're going to get it done. Right? Let's make it happen. You got to show up. Christy for Colorado, I see you. Melindy, I see you. Stankville, you got a question. Is there a growing separation between the federal GOP and the GOP voters? How do we overcome that feeling towards state Republican candidates? Yes, because I do think what it comes back down to, are you going to side with the uniparty corporatist Republican narrative as of old? Because we are seeing a reshuffling of the deck, folks. On a federal level and even at state level, we are seeing people kind of get reinstituted back to this Mitt Romney, John McCain, Al Gore, Democrat, moderate and civil era, because this is what the uniparty wants. They want us to return to this sane level of politics, because you've got cultural Marxists and outright communists trying to cut children's genitals off, trying to tax the wealthy, trying to take your guns away, trying to build an open immigration border state where we own nothing and we have electronic vehicles, and it's an Agenda 2030, right? It is a globalist Agenda 2030. That is what the Democrat Party is. That's what the Democrat Party wants. And then you got the Republicans, the uniparty Republicans, who are funded by foreign interest, or funded by corporate causes, whether it be Halliburton, Palantir, data centers, institutionalizing this surveillance state, institutionalizing this technocratic state, this takeover state. We need to return back to constitutional values. We need to return back to our founding fathers' traditions of morals, truth, honesty, integrity, and the way of freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is what we need, folks. That is what we need to come back down to. That is what we need to return to. And if we've got to wear the GOP and work within this process to build this ethos, to build this energy that can unify a lot of disenfranchised voters, a lot of disenfranchised individuals who are sick and tired of seeing us continuously falling flat on our face every time, over and over again. If we can unify behind that message, I think we will win. I think we will succeed, and we can turn this around. Okay? Let's make it happen. Let's do it. We can make this happen. You got to stand together. We got to unite. So rally the troops, rally together, be a chain breaker on Break the Chains Beat It. Smash the thumbs up button. Be a part of it, because we can do it. Folks, I kind of went on a rant, so apologize. I wanted to actually break down the brass tacks and the numbers of some of this stuff. But yes, Yes, and that's a whole nother conversation, Christy. The electronic voting machines, and actually it's a perfect segue because we got some great candidates who are going to change that. We got some great warriors who are going to make that happen. James Wiley for Secretary of State, completely sweeping the competition with 70% of the vote, folks. James Wiley, the Red Flame of Liberty, been working with him for a few years now. Crushed the Secretary of State race. Won it by 70%. Okay, he got a great report here from the Rocky Mountain Voice, breaking down all the different candidates. Yeah, so James Wiley dominates Secretary of State race as the election integrity emerges as a central theme. In the race, James Wiley was the only candidate to advance, receiving 1,459 votes. That's over 70%. We can't have division with our own party, Wiley said. It's not about who has the better ideas. It's about who unites to win. And I can't agree more. I think I kind of even went on that rant myself. But, his website right here, very simple, very straightforward. James Wiley, Red Flame of Liberty. You can find his website at redflameofliberty.com. Same day, in-person voter ID, paper ballot, hand counted. Need I say more? And he also he also defended Free Tina Peters. He sued various different institutions. He has the track record. I believe he can actually change our state for the better. So make sure you get involved with James Wiley as a Secretary of State candidate. I do believe that he has a real good chance of winning because, folks, let's be honest. Colorado is a central headquarter for election interference, election integrity, election fraud. Tina Peters, Mesa County, the whole fiasco. Jenna Griswold. Need I say more, folks? Need I say more? Okay? So James Wiley, Secretary of State, crushed it. Okay? He's also got a ballot PD page. Highly recommend you checking it out because it is awesome. This kind of stuff that he answered some really good questions. So check that out. But let's keep going on because we've got more here. So not just James Wiley, but you can. And I posted. So this is his post. So if you go to my X page, you can see every different candidate that we're going to be breaking down here in a quick rundown. But we got different candidates. We got Mark Baisley got nominated by Lauren Boebert to run for U.S. Senate to take on John Hickenlooper. Great speech by Lauren Boebert. Shout out Lauren Boebert, future. She's going to do great things in the U.S. Congress, and I definitely I've got a little crush. I think a lot of people do, but man, she's a bombshell. She's a smoke show, and she supports Mark Baisley for U.S. Senate. A man who stands for the Constitution, State Senator Mark Baisley, accepts and wins the ballot spot to run for U.S. Senate. He will be an avid fighter and a bulwark against the uniparty machine in D.C. Let's get him there to truly represent Colorado and get Hickenlooper out. MarkBaisley.com. Go check it out. MarkBaisley.com. Join Mark and let's get him to D.C. because he has shown his true colors in the state Senate. He has stood by the Constitution, stood by the family values, stood by what it means to really be conservative. Let's make it happen, dude. Let's make it happen. Let's get it in there. Melindy, appreciate you being here. You will see this re-upload in a short matter of moments. So thank you for hanging out. Christopher, Colorado, you're still here hanging out, dropping the hearts. Appreciate you being here. MarkBaisley.com. Go check him out because he won that primary race. He's in it to win it. Endorsed by Amanda Calderon as well. So a lot of good people supporting Mark Baisley. And then what else do we got here? We've got the other one here. It's a little bit more contentious, but I do think it needs to be said. We got two different people running for Attorney General, and this is interesting because District Attorney Mark Allen won the nomination as the GOP candidate for Attorney General, and as well as David Wilson. Both of them got past the 30% threshold to be on the primary ballot. Okay? And Mark Allen won 2/3, and Michael Allen Michael Allen won 2/3 of the delegate vote, and David Wilson won 1/3, both over 35%. Both are on the primary ballot. But the one thing that I will say and that will stands out is that there is a track record of Mark Allen being. Why do I keep saying Mark Allen? Because I said Mark Baisley. Michael Allen. Michael Allen is a. He has not spoken clearly about election integrity. I have heard and I've seen the reports from several individuals stating that he ignored election integrity evidence, and when he was given this information, he completely disregarded it. It was not a concern to him. So Michael Allen, if you are going to be Attorney General, and don't get me wrong, I think he's got a good track record. I think he's a Colorado native. He's done a lot of good things, but we don't need more of the same. And that's what David Wilson said. David Wilson, in his speech, let's take a listen, because I do think that David Wilson, and I met him, and I'll gladly admit I voted for David Wilson for the primary slot. So David Wilson is my choice for Colorado Attorney General because he worked on Tina Peters' campaign. He worked on the Tina Peters lawsuit. He worked with those lawyers. And he also blatantly, openly calls out election fraud. You can't address election integrity without addressing election fraud, and Michael Allen does not do that. So, with that being said, we got both of their websites here. You can do your research as well. This is David Wilson for AG. David Wilson for AG announced his run not but 10 days ago. Barely a little bit more than a week before its state assembly, he announced his run for AG. He's got a good track record. He has a good standing. He knows his stuff. And my biggest thing is if he's going to be for election integrity, if he's going to be for defending families, if he's going to be for the rule of law and protecting and defending our constitutional rights, you got my vote, David. So you got David Wilson. David4ag.com. That is the website. You can check it out here. You got all of his issues. It's still in its infancy, but I highly encourage everyone to check it out. And you also have Michael Allen for Colorado.com. Michael Allen for Colorado.com is Michael Allen's website. And you got to give both candidates equal amount of time to just. I want people to do their own research, and this is why I make sure this information gets here to you on Break the Chains Media, because Michael Allen, initially when I heard that someone was running, I heard that Michael Allen, back in January, I think it was, he announced for AG. But this is the thing, folks. Nobody announced for AG. There was no one running against Jenna Griswold. So anyone that announced that they were running against Jenna Griswold sounded to me like they were going to, oh my gosh, anybody but Jenna, right? We could run a turkey leg. We could run a 6-piece chicken tenders special against Jenna Griswold, and people would vote for it because Jenna Griswold is so openly corrupt and she is an absolute criminal. So hearing that anyone was going to run against her, I was like, my God, thank you, Michael Allen, for running. And then you get into the research. Then you understand their track record. Then you understand their history. The two things that stand out against Michael Allen for me is that I've heard through various people in Teller County, the district attorney area that he represents currently, he supports some red flag laws. He supports some gun control laws that the Colorado communists have passed. So as district attorney in those areas, he was kind of going a little bit anti-constitutional myself. And then to hear that he was hesitant on discussing the election integrity issue, and he believes that our elections here are on the up and up. So those two things are huge red flags for me. And only recently did David Wilson come into the race. And then I met David Wilson personally, and he brought some really great points up, folks. Really great points. So back on David Wilson's website, let's take a look here because, like I said, it's the beginning phases of a website. But David Wilson stands for First thing on the list, election integrity and fighting election fraud, folks. Okay? I got to record this a little bit. So, as it stands right now, Colorado has 2 attorney general candidates running for Colorado's primary. Coming in June, you got David Wilson running for attorney general, as well as Michael Allen running for attorney general. And David Wilson right here, this is why I am behind David Wilson. First thing on the list, election integrity and fighting election fraud. That is 100% a huge thing here in Colorado. Upholding the rule of law, protecting parental rights. Folks, if you don't know about the trans surgeries that are going on, if you don't know about the CPS agenda, the school agenda happening here in Colorado, protecting parental rights as an attorney general is pivotal. Fighting tyranny, defending freedom. That's pretty generalized. You know, standing up for our constitutional rights. We got to make this happen. And look at right down here. Removing adult graphic materials and the transgender agenda from schools. I think that is fantastic. Excellent. And he just says it like it is, folks. Defending the underdog. Standing up for our rights as attorney general. I think David Wilson is a great candidate. DavidForAG.com. David Wilson for Attorney General in Colorado. And then you also have Michael Allen on the other side. Michael Allen for Colorado.com. That is the website for Michael Allen. In contrast to David Wilson, you know, Michael Allen in the district attorney position in Teller County, and I think it was Chaffee County or down south there. He has been an avid fighter. He's got a great track record. He's, you know, both of these individuals have served in the military, have served in armed forces. They do have a great standing as far as the qualifications for attorney general. But the things that hold my reservation with Michael Allen, even though he announced initially, anyone running against Jenna Griswold is 80% of the battle is already there, because y'all know how corrupt and broken Jenna Griswold is. So if you're going to run against her, you know, you're already halfway in the bag, in my mind, right? But the things that hold my reservation with Michael Allen is that I've heard that he supports some of these red flag gun laws, and I have heard that he is prosecuted against some of these gun control legislations that are coming out of the Golden Dome in Colorado, as well as Michael Allen ignoring and refuting election integrity evidence and believing that our elections are safe and secure, as the Democrats like to say it. So, folks, you want to make sure you do your own research, and that's why I'm presenting it here. Michael Allen for Colorado. That is his website. Do your research on Michael Allen. He's a current district attorney right now. And then David Wilson for AG. DavidForAG.com is the website, and you can find his issues here. You can read more about him here. So I do want everyone to get involved, get invested. But at the bottom line, folks, you don't want Jenna Griswold. Like, can we all agree that we can't have Jenna Griswold as Attorney General? She's already spoken out openly the fact that she wants to ban assault weapons, whatever that amorphous term is. You know our Second Amendment people here. Assault weapons. You can have assault spoons, assault Tupperwares, assault shoelaces, whatever you want. But Jenna Griswold wants to ban assault weapons in Colorado as Attorney General by working with the legislature. So we need to make sure that Jenna Griswold does not get in that position, does not get in that office. And let's hope and pray that the DOJ comes down, drops a big hammer on Jenna Griswold, and make sure that actually, you know, maybe she doesn't get her attorney general position because she might be spending time as a felon, as a federal felon, for breaking our laws in the state of Colorado by defying the DOJ, by defying her request for unredacted voter rolls, for leaking BIOS passwords, for weaponizing the Secretary of State's office against Tina Peters. So let's make sure that Jenna Griswold doesn't get into this office. We got to rally behind whatever candidate we end up getting from the primaries, whether it be David Wilson or Michael Allen. But my vote's with David Wilson. I hope you guys do your research, and I hope you understand that election integrity is important as Attorney General, and defending the Constitution is vital as well. So that's why David Wilson is my choice for Colorado Attorney General in the midterms. But yes, folks, I know we can keep wrapping it around it, but yeah, we're about to get into that, Benjamin. What's wrong with the clashing between Bottoms and Marks' campaigns? They are both competing for one spot on the ballot. And I think it comes back down to the issue that it's becoming more personal, and it's becoming a more some people, Victor Marks is an evil person, or he's a Democrat plant, or he has a long history of being corrupted and gun running and taking using the death of Charlie Kirk as a moment to pitch his campaign, which I will completely agree. It's not a good look. Not a good look. Not a good look. I assault the rim on a margarita glass. That is golden. Stankfield, that is, you get a round of applause for that. That is absolutely fantastic. I assault the rim on a margarita glass. Yes, you do. I've done many assaulting of the rims on a margarita glass in my days as a bartender. But Benjamin Lang, I do agree that the political smear and the political attacks between Bottoms and Marks, it seems a little personal. It seems a little beyond just political attacks, and that's, I think, where people really don't like it. But with that being said,
Is our enemy if they call themselves a Republican?
Let's see here, because I was at the Victor Marks pre-assembly rally the night before. I also was at the Scott Bottoms. I covered both, because that's what you do. You stand there and you cover both, and you report from both sides. Okay. So with that being said, let's take a listen here and see what Marks says in this 1 minute clip I have. I can't remember which clip it is. It might be this one or the other one, but let's take a listen here. Hopefully it's not too loud.
Is our enemy if they call themselves a Republican? Now, if they're act dumb as a bag of rocks, well, we got to correct them and say, get a hold of your emotions, regulate a little bit better. That we can do. But the goal and the mission is to win in November. Put me in the governor's seat. We've accomplished everything we said we're going to do. We feel like God's favor is upon us. Hey, I'm going to tell you something. We don't just talk about it. My bride, she has a prayer group.
Okay, yeah, this isn't the one. I'm going to watch. There was only another 20 seconds left. Let me see if this is. Yeah. Cuz this is the one. So Victor Marks, and I think that Victor Marks he's got that cult of personality. He's got that charisma. He's got that X factor, right? That's why people are rallying behind him, because he has this energy about him that just makes people excited, right? Bottoms, you got to admit, a little dry, a little vanilla, right? He could use a little bit more spice, but Bottoms has got the track record. Bottoms has got the legislative angle. He knows how politics works. He understands what needs to be done. He's worked in the Golden Dome, right? Bottoms is a effective politician in that regard. Victor Marks is an effective salesman. Victor Marks is an effective campaign builder. He can build a campaign. He can build a movement. He can make people feel excited. Not saying Bottoms can't. They both have their strengths, but they also both have their weaknesses. In a perfect world, I'd like to see a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and we get maybe a Scott Marks or a Victor Bottoms. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta find a happy medium here, and it'd be really good to see them unify. But unfortunately, I do not see a unification, and that might be the governor's Achilles heel in the Colorado midterms here. Is that might be the reason why we end up squandering the governorship, because of the inability to unify. That might be the biggest problem we have. But let's take a listen here, because I want to hear from Victor Marks himself. This is the pregame, the pre-show rally. Let's take a listen.
Action. Here's your marching orders for tomorrow. We need this energy in that arena tomorrow. What else, Roger?
Oh, he's got to get his points from the campaign manager.
Bring this energy tomorrow. You let everybody know, and for the undecided, I hope tonight is just giving you a little bit more insight into what we believe, what we're willing to fight for, and the fact that we know we're going to win. This matters. Look at me. I'll close with this. Can I have a little flower? I want to close with this, folks. What matters is who can win the general. I've said it from day one. And Coloradans, and even, of course, unaffiliates, but I'm going to tell you something. The Democrats want change.
They do.
But let me tell you something. See, people think that they won't vote. Guess what? Look at me. We had a Democratic lady, downtown Denver, call us and say, your common sense, I've checked out your policies, I want to hold a fundraiser for you.
A Democrat in Denver was holding a fundraiser for Marks. What does that say?
I went, it was a good group. 3 people were from the AG's office. I could tell they looked like they were sucking lemons there like this. I was like, God, not everybody gotta love me. I just need the percentage of y'all. You know, after I shared and talked, they met my bride and me. 70% of them after that said, we're gonna vote for you.
Folks, take this with a grain of salt. Like, take it all in, though.
Democrats are feeling the hurt and the pain too. Our state's unaffordable. Crime is out of control. Homelessness. Man, we went from a fit state to a fentanyl state. It's got to stop. And I'll tell you one thing. I am law enforcement's best friend and criminals' worst foe. I can tell you right now.
So yeah, that was and folks, we gotta, like, you know, that's a good speech. That's a good representation of what Colorado does need, right? It's very difficult to have that middle of the road yet conservative value. Like how do you sell that to people who are undecided or unaffiliated voters? How do we get there? How does that make that happen, right? With that being said, like, you know, I did not vote for Victor Marks in the state assembly. I didn't vote for Marks. I voted for Scott Bottoms because Scott Bottoms, I've known him for a long time. He's walked the walk. He's beat the pavement with myself and others standing in front of Children's Hospital in Aurora that were doing the trans surgeries. We beat the pavement together, holding signs up. And I got to talk to Scott Bottoms early in his governor campaign. And that's what really sold it to me, is that he isn't for the fame, isn't for the celebrity, isn't for any of this. He stands by his principles. He stands by his morals. So I put my vote in for Bottoms. But with that being said, let me see if I have a clip from Scott here. It's not Scott speaking, but this was after Scott was announced that he got 45% of the vote. So after he got the 45% of the vote, he had to go down to the center and start filling out the paperwork. So Scott Bottoms ended up getting the higher percentage of the delegates. He got 45% of the vote. I think it was over like 965 delegates voted for him, and I think 830 something voted for Marks. Both of them got over the 30% threshold, so both are on the primary ballot. But this is Bottoms, you know, he's got that, and you know, he's honest, you know. Victor Marks and Scott Bottoms are designated to the primary ballot, you know. So we're in for a wild one, folks. We got Bottoms and Marks coming in hot. We got Bottoms and Marks fighting it out, and we're gonna see that unfold. We're gonna see that unravel. Let me show you. Let me show you the Scott Bottoms' speech here. That's Marks. This is Bottoms.
This is our year. This is the year we're going to do this. I'm going to reclaim parenthood and childhood for all Coloradoans. Who says no genders? We will reclaim safety and security. We will tear down the Venezuelan cartel. Sheriffs will work with us. Reclaim the economy and energy, oil, coal, gas. And farming community, we're going to build small nuclear reactors. We're going to mine lithium, cobalt, uranium. We're going to turn the state around, reclaiming medical. We're going to put the patients in the driver's seat. We are also going to have government transparency and accountability. We're going to
Doge it all. Doge it all.
I'm Scott Bottoms. I will be your next governor. I accept the nomination.
Quick, clean, concise, good report, good speech, right? Very, like I said, he's got not quite the same charisma as Marks, but it is going to be a telltale sign and a unifying factor, right? What does it really come back down to, folks? I know we've been in this for a minute. I appreciate everyone still hanging out. We've been over an hour now. I could keep going on, but you know what? Tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow is Tyranny Response Tuesday, and what I'm going to do tomorrow what I'll do tomorrow is I'll get into the nitty-gritty. I'll get into the more nuanced stuff. We'll talk about the state GOP and how they voted to censure the executive committee because they wanted to make sure that our primary ballots went to unaffiliated voters, and the state assembly wanted to close our primaries to only registered Republicans. So we're going to talk about that on Tyranny Response Tuesday tomorrow, because we just didn't get into it. We got through the candidates, we got through the assembly. It was chaotic, it was crazy, but we ended up getting some results out of it. But now we got to unify. Now we got to build a coalition. Now we got to build a team, make it work, get these people past the finish line, unify, get butts in seats, win against the cultural Marxists, and we are going to take back Colorado. We are going to save Colorado one seat at a time. But with that being said, folks, I appreciate everyone being here. Let's see if I can find someone. Let's see. Can we get a raid in here? Who do we have going right now? Let me see who I can find. Do I have anyone who is live? I'm trying to find someone who's live on Rumble right now who we could raid. Let me see. Momentary lapse. Guess what? We're just gonna do the old Beanie compound. That's what we'll do. We will raid the Beanie compound because they're getting into some interesting stuff. I'll tell you what. Some more national and geopolitical news, but folks, I do appreciate everyone being here. Thank you all for hanging out. Smash that thumbs up button. Be a part of the Chain Breakers here on Break the Chains Media. I want to thank you all again. Cannot thank you enough. Hold on, let me see. Slash like this, like that. Yeah. Yeah. So stay tuned. Appreciate y'all coming here. We are back. We are in the attack. We are making it happen. Stankfail, thank you for being here. You get that treasure chest. You get that horn. So glad you didn't get taken. That Matt Gaetz program. Yeah, I am not the alien human hybrid. I'm here. I'm authentic. I'm a red-blooded, natural, organic, wild, and crazy American here to take back our state, here to make it happen, here in the beautiful Centennial state of Colorado. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for being a part of it. Stay tuned because we've got more coming on Break the Chains Media. I appreciate you. And as always, fight for freedom and never give up.